Hey everybody, so I haven't done a news video here in like what 4 weeks. I haven't been keeping track. I've been a bit more focused on taking care of school, getting caught up on like my research and reading and stuff, and working on back-end stuff for the website and other features. So one of the main things I've actually been working on here for the organization is a wiki builder. This will let us build the wiki as static HTML pages, which for those who are not familiar, this means it's just a raw text file that your browser reads and turns into a page. Most sites use some kind of dynamic page system, some kind of dynamic generation system, which results in the pages loading slowly. I don't like this because a page should load in under a second, even on the most horrible computer you can think of. In order to fix this, I built the system, and I actually have it working now. It's taken about 2 weeks to get it running, and that's not because it was difficult, but because I've only been putting a few hours a day into it. But I have enough here to show it off. And the system is really simple. It's got a theme template system that generates the pages. You then give it data. Let me actually open up some of the files here. So if I go out to my GitHub folder here, so the one main piece of it is you have the wiki template. The wiki template is defined by a theme JSON file. This defines what pages there are part of. There are some key term pages, like you have the main template. This is actually what defines what the wiki page looks like. Then you have the category template, which is the thing at the bottom of wikis that tell you what items are part of the wiki that are part of the mod actually. It has an entry, which is the category, so this will be like explosives, machines, tools, whatever. And it has your item, which will be like your missile, your warhead. And there's a modified version which is called parent, which actually is the child. So if you have a category that has subcategories under it, so say explosives has fragments, which I'll show here later, this is used instead, so it looks a little nicer. Given I don't have CSS for any of this, so it's whatever. It looks different thing. But here's the actual template class. So this is really basic HTML code. You have your header, which defines a few different properties. It loads up some JavaScript, which is actually used by our site. I'm actually going to strip some of this down because we don't need the spoiler. Actually, I do need the spoiler. I don't need the image slider. I don't need some of the functions. I don't need the progress bar. I do need jQuery, though, for stuff down here. This is our Google Analytics script. This tells us when you open the page who you are, what was going on. It doesn't actually take your name or anything. It just goes, okay, you're from the United States and you're opening it in Ohio, and then it stops at that point. Google keeps all that data, so Google only gives us some of that stuff, and then we use that to determine like what languages we need to support on the site and stuff. But the main thing to look at in this template is how we're doing the injection. So this defines that there needs to be a page injected here. There's the header, which is shows the site logo and everything. Then we got the page header, which tells you what mod you're looking at. There's the content, which actually tells you what item you're looking at. And then there's the category thing, which is I'll show here later. We also have the footer, which has got copyright information in it, stuff, etc. Which I can show a couple of these off. So here's the site header. This just says Built Broken, tells you what web page you're on. We don't have the site nav done yet. Here's the site footer. This has just got your copyright stuff, which actually needs to be updated. It is a new year. It has an about page. It just gives you some links back to a few other pages. Then we have the page header, which actually includes the site nav as part of it. The way we got the site generated is that the site navigation is actually not part of the main page. It's part of each individual page. That way you can have a slightly modified navigation bar at the top. So if you're on the main page, you'll see, for example, the mod, a link to the mods page, a link to the projects page, a link to our about page. But then as you get deeper into the site, if you were on, say, the ICBM page, and you would see the ICBM home, you would see the site home, you would see the downloads page, and then the link to the wiki. But we also have injection tags here. This injects the title, which would be ICBM, and this injects a subtitle, which would be like defining what the mod is. It's a missile mod for Minecraft. That way it helps people navigate a little better. But moving to the category thing here, this is what a category template looks like. It defines the category title. This is mirrored off of the VoltsWiki. I helped build the VoltsWiki back in the day with Calculavi, and I really like the way it did its category data. So I've mirrored sort of how it works. I've definitely taken some of my own inspiration on it and made it easier to work with. This will be the title, which will be ICBM. This is important to have the title here because it will be a page here later that'll be generated by the Wiki Builder when we do batch builds. That'll have a entire page which will have every piece of content on the page, and it will insert the title so you can figure out what the content is. It then inserts the categories here. The categories are these things, which will basically just have the category name. This will show up on the left, and then it'll have the items. Each item is really simple. This is literally what it looks like. And then the parent category thing is just stripped down a little bit. It just literally puts the item in there. You get a link. You get a link to it, and then you get a title of the link. Really, really simple. So I got all that there. Now let's move on to showing how what the wiki looks like before it's been built. So I need to go back out the ICBM, or actually we'll go dev folder apparently, because I misclicked. Okay, here's the ICBM wiki. It's got a link to the template. This is a symbolic link, so I don't have to re-clone that file every single time. It then has the setting file. The setting file defines what the wiki actually will inevitably look like. It defines where the images are stored, where all the pages are stored, what theme we're supposed to be using for that wiki, because we can still define custom themes. So you can in theory have a theme per wiki piece, which we'll eventually have. That way you get a little more customization. The plan is also for the site, for each mod, we'll have a slightly different page layout. It mainly will be decorative though, so you'll go to ICBM and it'll look more military driven. You'll go to Farm Tech, it'll look a lot more farmy. You would see fields in the background and stuff like that. It defines some variables here, like what path we're going to output the wiki to, what's the title of the wiki, of course, and what's the subtitle. It defines all the categories. This is for the category data generation. If you don't define these, then you have no categories show up. It also defines some subcategories, what the text shows up for some of these. Although this is a little finicky, I'm still working on getting that part to work. But past that, we have the pages. Now right now I've only got missile pages since I'm just testing this. But this is what one of the pages looks like. You define the name of the page, what type it is. This is a content page. We can actually have tutorial pages. We can have information pages. Right now this doesn't do anything special. This is just, I'm keeping track of this metadata in case I ever need it. We then define the category. This will show up under missiles. Then these are replace keys. Replace keys are, if you've ever seen a web page and you see how they have links embedded into the text, and you click the link and it takes you somewhere else, this is what these are. This isn't fully working on the wiki yet, but the ideal is that every single page would be linked back to every page on the wiki by in-text citations and stuff. So you'd be reading and it'd be go, okay, missiles are small objects that move fast. And then the word missile would be a link to the actual missile page telling you what all the missiles are in the mod. But moving on, here's the content. Now this is basically the same as an HTML page. I'm just using I'm using JSON to generate the data. So you have a paragraph here, a header, another paragraph, another header paragraph. Then you have a list of all the missiles and everything. Same exact way you would do it in HTML. The only difference is that this would look like this instead in HTML, but in this case we're using a p tag. The idea behind doing it this way is that these same files can be loaded up inside of Minecraft itself and turned into an in-game book, so that way you can read all the same information without opening up the website. This also lets us more easily use things like editors. And also, these are the tags I was talking about, although these are actually wrong. These need to be, I think, this way. I changed the format after I made these pages. So they're supposed to actually look like this, which this will tell the system that parses the pages that this is a link and that its key is explosives, and it'll fix everything. Let's see. That's pretty much it for these pages. Now let's show the system itself. I'm not going to show all the code, but it is pretty straightforward. It just opens up pages, loads files, parses them, and injects data. It runs really fast. Literally, it processed all of those pages quicker than I clicked the link. The only reason it took a while to show up is that console output is usually slower than everything. But as you can see, it goes through, it loads the template, it then loads the pages, It then parses the pages, which actually loads them from file. When we are talking about loading here, we're just finding the files. This part actually loads the file, then converts it into segment data, which is a broken down version of the page, then finds all the injection points, and then when we hit building, it injects all the link data. It also gives out warnings like here, it couldn't find what the hell handheld launcher was. It couldn't find a link reference for explosives because all that data is messed up. Also, there's no explosives page and there's no handheld launcher page yet. It then builds the pages and then outputs them. And we can actually go look at these. Let me turn on my local web server. I'm using XAMPP for this. Really useful. I got a class right now that I'm doing server building in, and we don't use this. We use NetBean, which is absolutely horrible to use. So anti-user friendly in my opinion. A little better than IntelliJ though when it comes to user friendliness, but I still like IntelliJ. We go to HDocs. Actually, let's not go to HDocs. I need to open the page this way. So this is an exact copy of the site you would see if you go to BuiltBroken.com. So if I actually do this real quick. So these two sites are exact matches for each other. The only difference is this one's local and I can test on it and I can screw around with it. But if I actually do this, so if we go ICBM, of course there's no index file in here, so we'll get a little page directory. I can actually click this and this will open up a page. And under here, I can read exactly how this looks. Of course, I'm getting some errors here because I haven't finished the wiki builder. It'll take me maybe a couple more days to get everything running. There's also a lot of content missing here. So all the categories are generating, and only the missiles are working here. And as you can tell, I got more work to do because the item URL did not inject properly. But things like this happen. Probably I need to use a link system for that. But yeah, this is actually pretty good. Now these pages are fully generated. This means we can run it and build it, and they're really fast load-wise. I hit refresh, it's almost instantaneously refresh. It doesn't have to build the page, doesn't have to process it, doesn't have to do anything. We can use the same site CSS for all this, so it's really, really good. Now outside of doing the wiki builder here, in other news, we got some more mods up on Curse. There's the plantable bag mod. This mod lets you pick up plants and stuff. There's a video already explaining how it works, and then there's a cacti bucket mod. There's plans for more bucket mods here. There's going to be a system I'm going to be developing here over the next several months that'll be used to auto-generate code for those mods. That way I can sit there and make about a dozen bucket mods for you guys, so you can pick and choose. As well, there will be a group mod for the bucket mods. That'll be a total one, so if you guys all want all the buckets, you only have to download one file. That'll be coming here pretty soon. ICBM Classic is almost done. I'm pretty much waiting on updated models and a few other things in order to get it out the door. Almost all the content's functional. There's a few small bugs to work out, but I think those bugs were there before I even updated. But that's pretty much it for news. I'll try to get some more of these videos out here. I do have to work around my school schedule and a few other things, so it's going to be hit or miss. As you can tell, this is a day later than it should be. Usually these are on Wednesdays for these videos, and I haven't done one of these in several weeks. So, but other than that, see you guys later, and we'll get more videos and content and everything else for you guys.